Hey guys, we're here with something a little bit different. This is Good Robot, a game by Pterodactyl Games. We got a code from them to show off this game in all of its glory, so we're gonna do just that. I should note that this game plays pretty much like a roguelike bullet hell shooter kind of thing. It's a little
Procedurally generated and all of that.
Yeah, so while this is a video of one straight run, I did edit out a couple of rooms just to make things interesting. So anyway, you play as this adorable little robot dude, and you control the game by using WASD to move, and you point with the mouse to aim. And
it does have gamepad support, which I remember actually being more fun, for me anyway.
Oh, I'd never tried it out, so I'd have to give it a shot. But I liked the control, the mouse and keyboard setup.
Yeah,
all right.
When you play with the gamepad, it kind of controls a bit like I would say Hotline Miami.
Okay.
Without the one-hit kill bullshit.
yeah. You do have in the top left you have your health bar, which is the green. You can upgrade it with the money you find by killing enemies. There's also my weapons. In the one on the left is my standard weapon. The one on the right is my secondary weapon, I believe is what the game calls it. You use those with the left and right mouse buttons. I guess there's just two different buttons for them on the gamepad. Above that, in the empty circle, that's where your warranty is held. Basically, your warranty is like an extra life. You can buy it. And when you have it, there's a little green check mark there. So I believe I do buy a warranty for this run. I'm not sure if I have it up. I'm not sure if I have the footage of me buying the warranty. But yeah, if you like roguelikes and you like bullet hells, I think you'd like this game. And, you know, for a bullet hell, it actually is pretty tame, I would say. I've never really played a lot of it, but I was able to manage it pretty okay, so it can't be that bad, at least in the early levels. One thing that is pretty unforgiving about the game is that if you die and you don't have a warranty, that's it. You're boned. So you basically have to just keep on going. You have to start all the way over again, which, you know, is a little bit of a buzzkill, but, you know, whatever. These are hats. They basically give you a free hit, and every time you go to a store, you can also read these little tips and news updates that give you some pretty humorous dialogue.
Generally, shooting at something that is trying to kill you is a good idea.
Yeah. I guess my only real complaint about the game, gameplay-wise, and this isn't something we're going to see in these early levels, it's probably something we're going to see a little bit later on, is that sometimes it's hard to distinguish what's trying to kill you or not. Because between all the parts, like, I will say that artistically this game looks gorgeous. Like, I love the art style. The robot's adorable. The colors are very vibrant, and I like the black on neonish color thing that the game's going for. So the game does look great, but sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to tell what is shooting you and what is not, which is I feel like it should be a little bit more obvious in a game like this. So that's really my only major complaint. Also, I got hit, so I tried to buy a new hat, and nope, you're not allowed to to do that. So sucks to be me, I suppose. Yeah. So yeah, the game's a lot of fun. I will say it does control really good, which is the biggest thing for a game like this. Is that the control needs to be spot on. Especially if dodging endless projectiles is the name of the game. And while at first, like, this doesn't seem that bad, it's like the second level, so you can't really expect it to be too terribly difficult.
As you go through the game, the bullets that you gotta dodge get pretty goddamn hectic. And I really like, and I did want to say, I tend to be a bit cynical of games that go for this whole black shadowy silhouette kind of look, but I like it in this case, because it's actually, the fact that it's dark is actually a pretty clever part of the gameplay.
Yeah, it's not, first off, it doesn't really look bleak, I guess, is the most important thing. Like, if you read all the lore, it's a pretty bleak world, like, robots are killing people and all that. But they do try to mask it with a humorous tone, which, you know, generally works, I would say. It's not entirely my cup of tea when it comes to the humor, but it's pretty funny all around. So there's that. So it keeps a relatively light tone, and also the color really helps. It's not like it's black on gray. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Limbo is the first thing to come to mind, but Limbo also has a completely different tone that they're going for. But everything is mostly distinguishable, I would say. Like, you know what's supposed to be an enemy and what's not, which is important. I will say that there's also, like, those little orange things there, you want to kill those because I believe they'll keep on spawning enemies until you blow them up. So,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's just, I wish I was better at games like these, because roguelikes generally aren't my thing. It doesn't feel as randomly generated, I guess is the big thing here. It doesn't feel as aimless as a lot of other randomly generated games tend to be, because that's usually my biggest problem with roguelikes, is that since everything is random, it doesn't feel like there's any real coherence to the level design.
Yeah, that's the real trick to procedurally generated stuff, is injecting enough structure into the random elements that whatever comes out will feel like a legitimate level design. And, you know, part of it is the fact that it's a shoot 'em up, so the actual structure of the level can feel random and still fit the gameplay. But I don't ever feel while I'm playing this game like the levels are, you know, just a complete mismatch.
Yeah, that's something you tend to get more in RPG-styled roguelike games, where you'll occasionally, like, have a hallway that leads to a dead end. Whereas you don't, unless if it's, like, bad game design in a normal RPG, where most of the time, if there's a dead end that doesn't lead anywhere, you'll normally, at the very least, like, get a treasure chest or something for your trouble.
Persona 3 was the worst when it came to that.
Yeah, it's just like, you go down a long, winding hallway, oh, nothing there. Okay, so anyway, there's like 3 different type of vending machines in the game. There's blue vending machines, which you can use to upgrade your robot. So you can get like better shields, better movement speed. There's red vending machines, which give you new weapons. The only thing about the red vending machines that tends to annoy me is that you don't generally know what the weapons do until you get them. So, you know, sometimes you feel like, I didn't really want this after all, but that's a minor nitpick. And when you play the game, you know, that's a mistake you're only going to make once.
Like with other roguelikes, one of the incentives to not die is to not lose all the upgrades you just spent time and money getting, so...
Yeah, that's a big thing, I think, in, Binding of Isaac, I think it is, where it's just like, if you die, you not only have to start all over, but you lose all the really cool shit you just found.
You put the top hat on, and
yeah.
The first thing I thought is that, like, I'm looking at Total Biscuit in robot form shooting up evil robots.
So at the end of every level, there's like different signs on the there's different signs on the doors you can go through, which I believe are supposed to give you a general hint to what you're about to encounter. I chose the money one, so we're getting a lot of cash in this. So generally speaking, I would recommend going for money doors whenever you find them. Also boss doors, because I do actually think that the bosses in this game are really cool. We see them. Oh, these guys. Any enemy that hits with multiple, that uses multiple attacks at once is really annoying, because you can get hit a lot and take a lot of damage from a spread shot. So you have to be pretty careful about that. I think I got the rockets secondary weapon, which is one of my favorites of the ones I've played. I'm sure there's plenty that I haven't seen yet, because this was a relatively early. This was one of my first runs through the game. I like the rockets a lot because they're fast, but they also follow gravity, so you can't like just shoot them straight up and they'll go on infinitely. Like it's not top down. It's like you're actually going up. So gravity affects physical things like rockets, where it doesn't affect energy stuff like I believe this is called the ion repeater that I have right now. So yeah. Yeah, but we're only in like the 3rd or 4th room at this point, and the difficulty has already started to ramp up repeatedly. So, yeah, I'm surprised that you preferred the gamepad support to mouse and keyboard for this kind of thing, though, because...
Well, the mouse is probably better for aiming, but when it comes to a game where you gotta dodge a lot of precise shit, I tend to favor analog sticks because I get more precise movement out of it. I have never been able to wrap my fingers around WASD movements.
Yeah, I can understand that. WASD is not my preferred movement, I will admit. I generally prefer like a control pad or control stick to something like that.
It's like going off on a tangent for a minute here. Whenever people argue keyboard and mouse versus gamepad, they'll always bring up how you get more precise camera movement and aiming out of a mouse, and that's true, and I like that, but the four button movement limits you to 8 directions at any given time, so you kind of have to steer with the mouse. But in a 2D game, that's not even possible.
Yeah. I wonder if there's an option to play like double fist, like mouse in one hand, control stick in the other.
Well, there are peripherals for that, like the split fish, which I've got.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But,
I remember you getting that.
Yeah, but the thing with that is you either set it to keyboard replacement mode or you set it to gamepad mode, and if it's in gamepad mode, you're going to be using the mouse as if it were an analog stick access.
Ooh.
If it's in keyboard mode, the analog stick, well, it'll make movement feel more comfortable, but you'll still be locked to 8 directions because it's just.
Oh, you want to know what that? You want to know what that reminds me of? Super Mario 64 DS. When you're playing that on the DS, you gotta move in 8 directions with the D-pad because it's a DS game, obviously, and for a 3D platformer, that kind of sucks. And if you play the game on the 3DS though, you can theoretically use the circle pad to move, and while but the circle pad still only detects like 8 directional movement. It's kind of a placebo effect where it feels like the game controls better because because you're using something that feels like an analog stick.
Gex 2 has the same issue where the analog stick is 8 directional, but it feels more comfortable that way.
Yeah. Oh, so here we got one of the bosses. I believe I did. As I said, I did edit out some rooms. I did fight another boss, but it was just basically a slightly bigger version of the standard drone. So I feel like that wasn't. But this worm is actually really cool. It reminds me a lot of the worm from Terraria, actually. I don't know if you played much of that game, but this was a lot of fun. If you want a tip, I'd go for any drones first, just so you have less stuff to dodge. And I guess, again, this all looks really cool. I suppose that this is, again, where it's sometimes hard to tell what's killing you and what's not, because the falling debris is a really cool effect, but it doesn't impact anything, so you don't have to worry about it hitting you, but it's one of those things where you feel like it might be something that hits you in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, you kind of have to see it not hit you to realize, oh, okay, that's not going to damage me. I can ignore it.
One thing that I was surprised that I kind of liked the effect of is the vision, where you can, because normally I'm not a huge fan of that, but I feel like it works okay in this game, mostly because it doesn't get in the way of anything, and it looks kind of cool with all of the lines everywhere, I think. So
yeah, it also forces you to choose between strategic risk and reward. Like, you can stay in the line of fire to keep an eye on where your opponent is, so that you can, adapt to their actions more, or you can use the environment as cover, but you're going to lose sight of your enemies. And when they pop back into view, it might not necessarily be where you expect them to.
Yeah, that's something that you don't generally... Like, when you're playing, especially a shoot-'em-up, you're just used to seeing everything everywhere. So, most of the time you don't you don't even think about it. So, yeah. I guess another nitpick is that stuff is pretty expensive. So you generally have to be very picky about what you buy and what you don't buy. Like here, I can upgrade like one thing, and every time you upgrade anything, everything else becomes more expensive. Like here, well, I bought a separate thing, so that doesn't really count. But if I were to buy attack power up, everything else would upgrade in price along with it. So
it's like Devil May Cry 4's upgrade system, where every time you buy a new move or an upgrade for Nero or Dante, the prices of everything else go up. But in DMC4, you could actually trade your upgrades back in exchange for what you spent.
Really? So, like, if you buy a move and you don't like it, you can return it and get your money back?
Yeah.
That's actually really interesting.
Devil May Cry 4 had great gameplay. It was just lacking in the content department.
That's a shame. So yeah, that's why I always recommend going for the money rooms whenever you get one, because money is very helpful. It's also see, like there. I ran into an enemy and it shot like a shotgun styled spread blast at me, and it ate through all of my health at once. So.
It's like getting hit by an actual shotgun at point blank range in real life. You get hit by all of the pellets at once.
Yeah, so, I'm not very good at these kind of games, so I kind of went in guns blazing. But be careful when you run into anything that can shoot multiple blasts at once, because, that's dangerous, yo.
Usually is.
Yeah, you also get score multipliers. I believe that has something to do with how many enemies you kill in a row. Like, maybe it has something to do with accuracy. I'm only looking at it right now because, obviously, you're not paying too much attention to your score when you're playing the actual game. But it went up to, like, ×8 just there. So I think it has something to do with how many enemies either you kill in a certain amount of shots or within a certain amount of time.
Or without getting hit.
Yeah, something like that. Now, I guess, yeah, but, especially if you're good at this kind of game and you get into a groove, I can imagine this being very fun to try to plow through and get high scores. Yeah, it's also, one thing I do like is that the projectiles, don't move so fast that you can't avoid them, I guess, but they're also not slow either, because there's one thing about, like, especially if you look at Toho-styled games, where there's a lot of bullets on screen at once, but they're all moving like really, really slow so that you can weave through them. It's not as structured, I suppose, where like you have to move this specific way at this specific time, which is more fitting because it's a roguelike. But it also makes dodging it feel more exciting, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, from a moment-to-moment gameplay perspective, and it's still, I'd say, similarly difficult as well.
Yeah, it's like there's no real memorization element to the game, in the sense that like even if it were procedurally generated, if enemies had that kind of predictable pattern to them, you would be memorizing how to dodge individual enemies, even if you weren't memorizing how to get through specific levels.
Yeah, I believe that this is the same group of enemies that got me last time, and do I get? Yeah, I do get revenge. Awesome. Yeah, but I don't think your health regenerates between levels. You do have to pay to upgrade your shields, and you can only buy a warranty whenever you find, I think it's a red vending machine. So you have to be very careful. One thing, this I guess is just. Oh, I made it back to the beginning of the level somehow. Okay.
Yeah, that can happen at times.
To be fair, that can happen in any game. But I think I got turned around.
But
at some point.
some roguelikes have a set direction that you're supposed to be going. Like Abyss Odyssey, I think it's called. One of the roguelikes I actually like, because I don't play roguelikes often. Oh, you walked face first into another shotgun blast. Abyss Odyssey, you're always going down. So the exit or multiple exits are going to be at the general vicinity of the bottom of the level, and that makes it easy to navigate.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a good robot. It's a pretty good time. It's on Steam for, I believe, $10. So if you want to give it a shot, have at it. I'd like to thank Pyrodactyl Games again for giving us a copy to look at, and yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, good times.
Woo.